Welcome to the Scared So What podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Van Ulbrich. This is the show where we break through the fear of change and ask the question, scared? So what? Each week we dive into personal change management, coaching, and leadership for the future, giving you real-world tools, insights, and stories to help you lead yourself and others through transformation. Whether you're navigating change in your life, your career, or your organization, this is your space to learn, to grow, and to take bold action. So, are you ready? Let's move from fear to forward. Welcome to the Scared So What podcast show. Today, we're honored to have a very special guest with us that has worked in advertising and hospitality for many years. It was always her desire to start her own business, and after being made redundant, she took that leap forward. For the past 16 years, she has been a leader in training and consulting on SharePoint and Microsoft 365, and she's just loving it. Let's meet our amazing guest, Miss Lisa Foster, Director of Blackbird Corporate. Welcome, Lisa. So nice to have you on the show.
Good morning, Grant. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's so nice to see you again, and I'm seeing you here. We're doing our recording today, and we met a while ago. It was at the expo at one of the big business shows. Is that correct?
It was. You and your colleagues were on a stand directly opposite me.
That's right.
And
Yep.
it was fun. And we kind of hit it off straight away when one of your colleagues decided he would try and nick my pop-up to hold
Yes,
my
that's true.
brochures.
We liked your brochure stands. That's perfect.
It was brilliant.
Yes.
It was brilliant.
What a great way to meet somebody. And you're so right. We just saw you. We watched you presenting to potential customers, etc. We thought, that's good people. We like her. Let's go talk to her.
That was fabulous. Absolutely. No, it was brilliant. It was not a bad show either. It was quite good.
No, it was a good show. Very huge at the expo in
Yes.
downtown London. My gosh, thousands of people there. So it was good to actually, to meet customers. But the best part, I do have to say, is we did get to meet you.
You did. And I got to meet you too, so it was fabulous.
Well, bless. Well, listen, for our audience, can you tell us a little bit about you and your exciting career? What's going on in your world?
So, we've just moved office.
Did you?
Yes, we did. We had to move to new premises. A lot of the work we are doing, or I'm doing at the moment, is either virtual consultancy or virtual training. And in the office we previously had, it was open plan. So if I was training, nobody else could come in. So we've moved to new premises, which is fabulous. Absolutely loving it. It's just all go. It's between the business and having the team of trainers out on the road running around the country like lunatics constantly. And obviously I run a race team. I look after a rugby team. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I get bored really easily. So daft things come into my head and I go, that would be a brilliant thing to do. So, but obviously the business is the main focus. As you said, I started it. It's now nearly 17 years ago. And I've never looked back. It's the most amazing thing I've ever done. I have clients that still to this day that I've worked with for years and years and years find it quite amusing that I can still be so passionate about the subject of SharePoint and 365 and Microsoft. But it's what I live and breathe. It's my world. And I do get quite excited about it.
We could never tell when we saw you.
No, not at all. Not at all. And clients find it quite amusing because trainer me, consultant me, and boss me are three completely different people. Really? So it's brilliant. So when you are training, especially on software, people look at you when you first go in and you say to them, I'm here to train you on SharePoint and all the fabulous things it does. And they all look at you and go, yeah, okay. It's
thanks.
A piece of software. Thanks very much. And you're like, no, just wait till you see this. And I've what was it? One of my clients described me as a SharePoint Energizer bunny. Because I get overly excited. Yeah. Feedback is wonderful. So I love it when the evaluation forms come in because I want to see what comments they've left about me. One of my favorites of all time was one of the girls had put on it, she's nuttier than a box of frogs.
Nuttier than a box of what?
Frogs. It was superb. And I was like, I love that. And it's good to be a little bit crazy when you're training because you've
Yeah.
got to keep it light
Right.
and engaging, and you want them to feed off your enthusiasm when you're
That's so
delivering
true.
it. And it works amazingly well. But consultant me, obviously, still a little bit on the crazy side, but
Mhm.
slightly more serious because you're then turning around and saying, I'm going to tear apart everything you've ever known on your infrastructure and I'm going to
Yeah.
rebuild it in the new way of working. And then boss me, um, I don't know how the guys have described me as boss me, slightly crazy still, and quite relaxed for the
Yeah.
boss. I like an easy life. I don't like stress.
Wait a minute. You like an easy life, but yet you lead a global consultancy and training from Microsoft. You also then have a racing team and you sponsor a rugby team.
Mm,
That's an
yes.
easy, calm, easy life.
It is. It
That's
actually is. I know
that's
it doesn't sound
chaos.
it. It sounds like
That's
chaos. It really does. But it's not. It's brilliant because I have the ability to segment things off in my head. To go right at the moment, I'm focusing on X, and tomorrow I'm going to focus on Y, and then
yeah,
in between all that, I have a 7-year-old I have to focus on my partner. So
yeah.
yeah, it all kind of it fits. It's all got its own little box that it fits in.
And you have to, obviously you manage that so well. But there's obviously, as you know, the theme of the show, Scared So What, we're all
Mm,
about change and personal change. And I want to talk just a little bit about Ramit Rugby, if I can,
yes.
because you're the power behind that team, Barry, and that team. Can you just tell our listeners a little bit about Ramit Rugby and what that means and what they stand for?
Yes. So Ramit Rugby are rugby against mental illness together is basically
Right.
what Ramit means.
Okay.
And all of the people involved in Ramit are very focused on mental health and well-being and personal change, looking after
Yeah.
yourself, not being afraid to talk about
Yeah.
anything. And obviously it's rugby. It's
Yeah.
big, huge, burly blokes
Exactly.
running around, knocking lumps out of each other on a rugby pitch, um,
I
having an
don't think
absolute
it doesn't
blast.
sound like they are concerned about personal change, but yet they are.
Genuinely are. And Barry, the team manager, who is
Yeah.
absolutely fabulous, love Barry.
Yeah.
Um, I love all of them. I think they're all brilliant. But yeah, he's so passionate about it. And the two charities they look after and support. So one of them it came about because their son committed suicide because
Oh.
he didn't want to talk.
Mm,
And the mum and the rest of the family have gone all out to get people now talking. Make
mm, of
sure you speak, don't hide it away. And then you've got
course.
Man Gang, who is the other one, and that's more focused on guys that go, I can't talk because that's not the man thing to do, and
Yeah,
I'm just going.
exactly.
So it was a bit like there's a thing called the man shed, and guys will just meet up and build things, and it's the similar kind of concept for Man Gang,
Yeah.
and Barry and the team really do everything they can to promote health and well-being and mental health, and don't be afraid to talk. And
Yeah.
they're the most amazing, loveliest bunch of guys on the face of the planet. They really are. And they come from all walks of life.
Yeah.
They're all either ex-local players, ex-international players. One of the players, I can say this and he's not going to mind. One of the players, Gav, little guy, absolute rocket, brilliant boy. I think it's his brother-in-law is Shane Williams, the
Oh,
ex-Wales player.
oh, wow.
And I've got his signed T-shirt up on my wall in front of me as well.
There
Um,
you go.
it's brilliant, and they are genuinely just amazing, the most amazing group of guys. And I'd say probably the most famous Ramit player is Beefy, Beefy
Okay.
409. He
Oh,
is a
Beefy
beefy. He's a
from the
beefeater
tower.
at the Tower of
Yes.
London.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant guy. And obviously you and I are going to meet up at the tower later
Yes,
on this year.
absolutely.
And Beefy is the one that's going to give us our tour.
That's
He's
incredible.
he's lovely, lovely. So if anyone's ever going to the Tower of London, look out Beefy. You can't miss the man.
There you
He's
go. Yeah.
fabulous. Yes.
And thanks to you, for introducing us to Barry and to the Ramit team. Scared So What is going to be a sponsor as well.
It
So you'll see our
is.
badge on the uniforms. Can't wait to see that as well too. But listen, you're championing such amazing people And the mission of what you're doing is just incredible around change, not only in your company and in your organization, but also for the racing teams, for the rugby teams, and all the people that you support and champion. What does change mean to you, and how has it impacted your life experiences?
So change for me is a big thing. So it's everybody in life goes through different scenarios, different things happen, and you have to work around it. You have to change.
Yeah.
And I, in my much younger years, my mum was a big part of how I changed my
Yeah.
life.
Hmm.
My mother was a nurse for 35 years. She worked in
Oh,
occupational
wow.
health for the fire service for 12 years. So she was very big as well on, change and mental health and well-being and everything else.
Yeah.
So it impacts you. And she was the reason I started the business.
I was going to say that much leadership, guidance in your
She was
family.
the
Yeah.
one. It was, I'd been made redundant. It was that, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I'd sat down with her over a glass of wine, and she went, "You've always wanted to start your own business. Why don't you do it?"
Well,
And that was my
exactly.
first big change. I went
Yeah.
from being an employee inside a company to I'm now the boss. Um, and with that change, my mental capacity had to change as well,
Of
because
course.
everything changes. So it's how you manage your life, how you manage time was a big one. That was a hard one to change.
Yeah.
Because I am a workaholic. I would work 24/7, 7 days a week if I could.
I could
Um,
never tell. All the
so
things you do.
it's I know, but it's having to. I mean, there were down times. There was
Yeah.
times my brain would just go, "You can't do this," and
Yeah.
it's gonna, and I hit burnout point,
Hmm.
and it took that process for me then to change how I looked at things, how I reacted to things, how I managed things. And probably one of the biggest changes was when I went from being just a little one person me to
Hmm.
employing more bodies,
Oh,
and
yeah.
relinquishing control of things was very, very hard.
Hmm.
And so my office manager, Melissa, is an absolute diamond. She's my rock. And I got to the stage I went, just there you go. I
Yeah.
can't do this myself anymore. There you go. And it was training her, showing her, supporting her, and everything else as well. But it's change to me comes under is such a big banner,
Yeah.
across lots of things. Whether it's personal change, mental change, physical change,
Hmm.
attitude,
Yeah.
outlooks on life and everything. And I would probably say one of the biggest things that made me change a lot in the way I looked at things and my time and how I dealt with things was I was given a book, and it was called I don't know if anyone's ever read that. So you've got the 1 Minute Manager
Oh,
book.
yeah. I've heard of that.
Fabulous. I've read that. Absolutely
Yep.
brilliant. Works brilliantly when you first become a boss.
Hmm.
Then the same guy that wrote it brought out one for people that had time issues. So you were too scared to take time for yourself.
Yeah.
It always had to be somebody else. I had to do something for somebody else. And it was called 1 Minute for Yourself. And it took you through the
Mm.
process of the impact it has on other people if you actually take time to
Yeah.
take care of yourself. You know,
Absolutely.
whether it's going for a walk for 10 minutes, whether it's just shutting the door and saying, I just need 5 minutes to myself,
Hmm.
whether it's going and soaking in a bubble bath for,
Yeah.
a bit just to clear your head, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
totally changes how you react to things. And once I'd read the book, that was me. It was because I was very much, I have to make sure this person's okay, and I have to make sure that's done, and I have to do this, and I have to make sure the staff are all looked after, and I took no time for myself.
Yeah. Exactly. And we
And
don't,
then,
right?
and we don't. It's you kind of run on autopilot,
Mhm.
and then at some point your body says you have to stop.
Yeah.
And that having read that and relating it to my life made a massive change, because it was like, I can take time for me and not feel guilty about it. And I don't have to sit at my desk 8 hours and work flat out. I can go, the world's not going to end if I step up and walk away for 5 minutes.
Yeah. But
So,
you've had so much with your experience as well. And I want to back up just a minute and say thank you to your mother, because that ability, and I'm going to put some words in her mouth, to just look you in the face with that redundancy and say, okay, for great, you're scared. So what? What can you do
it
about it?
was genuinely.
Genuinely, and that's calling it out, which is what we want to do here, and the whole purpose of Scared So What. What can you do? And you mentioned books. There's a great book, an author called Nancy Klein, and the book is called A Time to Think, right? Giving yourself time to think. And you're so right. In these instances of life, Lisa, think of how many people lose their jobs worldwide every day, every year. And it's that fear, that stress, that anxiety, that panic of, what am I going to do? And we go straight into fear and assumption, and bless your mom. If somebody could just kind of smack us in the face, say, great, you're scared. So what? But yet, like Nancy, give yourself time to think.
Yeah.
Give yourself that permission and that time to actually pause for a moment and get out of that fear, which turns into physical stress, physical pain and anxiety, etc. We don't have to do that anymore. And you're living proof of that. Absolutely living proof of that.
I mean, I was terrified, absolutely terrified.
Of course. And like Ramit, Ramit Rugby, the guys, toxic masculinity, we don't give ourselves permission to even feel, let alone show that to anybody else. And I've come across many women, so it's not just a gender thing. It's people. We haven't been taught how to manage this for ourselves. But yet look at you.
I know.
And where you are today.
17 years later. There you go.
I know. But let me ask you, your personal change experiences, they help shape who you are and who you have shown up to be today. But that also has to evolve into your leadership practice. So let me ask you this. How does personal change come into play with your leadership now that you're the boss of so many different things?
So I'm a great believer in positivity.
Good.
So all the guys that work for me know that if they feel nervous about something, if they're scared about something, if they're unsure, even delivering a new training course, and we've all been there. You go to deliver the first.
That's hard.
And you go to deliver that first course for the first time, and you're like, what am I going to do? And it's like, don't think you can't speak to me. That's why I'm here. I support all of the guys, about, whether it's their training style. Some of them have asked me to sit on their courses to see how they're doing. And I just hide in the background and just let them get on. And then they'll come and I'll set, and then at the end of the day, I will offer constructive criticism if needed, or the flip side, why did you ask me to come on that course? You were fantastic.
There you go. Wouldn't that be an amazing response?
It's brilliant. And the guys are, and it's because, especially in our world, no two trainers train the same way.
Yeah,
so
I know that.
Stephen can't train like me, Scott can't train like me, David can't train like me, and I can't train like them. But
that's actually a nice what would I want to say, a value in your company to have. You've got the breadth of different experiences. That's actually a sales strength. No two of us are the same. Nope. So it's up to the gamble of who you get, but we're all incredible at what we do and what we deliver.
Yeah, and it's trying to make the team realize that we aren't Microsoft size. We aren't that big. We are technically a tiny little company.
Yeah.
But we pack a big punch. And it's because we only specialize in SharePoint and 365 applications. We're quite unique. We don't deviate onto other applications and other pieces of software. So we are an SME in that right. And it's trying to make the guys realize, I know you are the best at what you do. And I will push that you are the best at what you do.
Yeah.
And, and it's what makes us quite unique. And when I say to them, Blackbird Corporate is not just me, it's us. We
It's a
are a
collaboration.
team.
Yeah.
And we work as a team. If it impacts one of them, it impacts all of us.
Yeah.
And we work together to either find a solution, or move forward and grow.
Oh, I love that. Love that. So, I actually want to come work with you. I can't wait to meet everybody. That'd be so much fun. Well, let me ask you this. What do you say the importance of personal change, your choice here,
Mhm.
personal change, coaching, and or leadership is beyond work? So how do you live and display that for your team members, not just in work, but beyond?
So beyond work, I again, it comes back to the, having to change the way I was, and it's work-life balance.
Mm, tell me about that.
So previously, I still remember that one day, my partner, was working from home. He coming from work, he cooked tea. I was still working. Tea was on the table. I was still working, and he came into my office, grabbed the back of my chair, and wheeled me out to the dining room table. And he
Just
was
pulled you
like,
out?
he just pulled me out of my office by the chair, on the chair. He wheeled me out to the dining room table. He went, "That's going to get cold. You need to stop." And it took a while. When I had my daughter, total change,
Yeah.
because I had to learn that proper work-life balance then. And after having my daughter, that then made me realize that, I've always been very good with the team. I don't expect you to work past this time, blah, blah, blah. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. It was very much a do as I say, not as I do kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But once I'd had my daughter, it was like, no, I need to learn to change my
For
personal
yourself.
life
Yeah.
to make sure I can fit everything in.
Otherwise,
And
you're going to imprint that onto her,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And it's, with her, everybody says she's a mini me, which I love. I love the fact she's a mini version of me. She looks like her dad, but she is me,
That's good.
in every way. And yeah, and I do I do give an impression to her, and I do speak to her about, that she shouldn't be afraid of anything. If she
Yeah.
says, "Mum, I want to do," well, go on then. There is
Yeah.
nothing to say you can't do that.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a 7-year-old, she's very adventurous in her brain, and it's like, I want to be, and I want to do, and I want this, and I want this. And I keep reminding her, "Sweetheart, if you decide you want to do this, there's nothing stopping you to do this.
Yeah. Mhm.
If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And it's the race bikes, the motorcycle racing team. She fixes the race bikes for their dad.
Are you
She,
serious? At 7?
seriously, she will sit and she will hand him this. He'll say, "Can I have this size of spanner?" And she'll go and get it and hand it to him. And
I
it's,
love
"Can
that.
you hold this?" And she'll go and do that. And I can still remember somebody had said to her once. I can't remember if it was one of the boys at school. Had said, "But boys can only do that." And she
Yeah.
instantly turned into me and went, "No, girls can do
Anyone
that
can.
too.
Yeah.
I can do this." And I was
Mhm.
it was one of those very proud parent moments. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, superb, absolutely marvelous. And so, yeah, so personal change for me was very much the work-life balance. I do enforce that with the team. They've
Yeah.
got to have downtime. And
True.
if they start doing the whole, "Oh, just fill my diary, it's fine, and I can do, and I can do," and I will literally, I did it last year to one of the trainers. I looked at his diary for a month and went, "You are not traveling, you are not training, you are going to work either from home or the office and spend time with your family, because
Good for you.
they
Yeah.
need to see you."
Yeah.
Your daughter does gymnastics and you've never been to watch her yet.
Hmm.
You should be going and doing these things.
Missing those moments that will never come back.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's, and I always emphasize, and I now do it myself, is the, okay, the kids' sports days are coming up, or parents' evenings coming up, or,
Yeah.
um there's an event we fancy doing, and I will say to Melissa, "Just lock my diary.
Yeah.
I've got to do family time."
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's really, really important to have that personal
Hmm.
life
Yeah.
as well as the business life, and have them so
Yeah.
they do have two separates.
Well, I love what you're doing as well too, and that reminds me, I get a lot of time with people asking in coaching sessions saying, "How do you manage your time, etc." And you just hit the nail on the head. Go to your calendar and actually schedule, block out family time,
Hmm.
right? But you can also block out personal time for yourself.
Yeah.
You think, in the day of fast pace, we're working from home or it's all virtual and we have these kinds of sessions and talks with people around the world at all different times. It's so easy to go back to back to back and you can look at your day and you go, well, what did I do for me? But you know
Hmm.
what? You can actually put on the calendar you
Hmm.
time for you in between meetings and sessions so you can just get up, go to the restroom, say hi to the spouse, say hello to the kids, and just
Hmm.
breathe for a moment. And you know what? If your boss needs to see your calendar, you're busy. You're taking care of your own mental sanity as well too. And people forget
Exactly.
that. People
Yes,
forget that. If you don't give yourself that buffer, you're just going to burn yourself out very quickly. So
definitely.
I'm so glad. Well, gosh, you're amazing for actually being able to give that back to your people as well too, and recognize that. Because so many leaders out there are just saying more, 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 more for less.
I think it's because in a previous employment life, when I worked in
Mhm.
advertising, I was in that
Yeah,
controlling, you must do, we expect this of you, if you don't
yeah,
achieve this there will be consequences, and it was push
yeah.
push 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 push, and it burnt me out to the
Hmm.
point of almost destruction. And I swore blind I would never let that happen to
Oh,
anybody that
so
worked
true.
for me.
So true.
And even when I worked in the hospitality trade, I was a sales manager that sold 38 hotels throughout the UK.
Hmm.
But the main hotel I worked in Scotland, a lot of the service staff, when my clients were coming in, I would support them, and it would be, don't worry that this is one of the biggest companies in Scotland that's coming in here.
Yeah,
They are a human being.
yeah.
Just be you, just be relaxed. It will be fine. And it was nice to be able to mentor, to show them this is okay.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and people don't realize that, and that's at the heart of what Scared So What, why we created the model as well too, is because people don't realize this stress, this anxiety, this fear, this worry, all of this insecurities, etc. Everything you're trying to teach your people to embrace, it's that vulnerability. It actually affects your mental
it
state
does.
first. But people don't realize that there's two mechanisms, your brain, but then also your body. So your brain feels the mental capacity of it and says, do something. But then if you don't do something, that then goes into the physicality. Think of like the muscle tension in the back of the neck, the headaches, the rapid breathing, the anxiety. It affects your body bad. So
It does.
what we've done for 100 years in organizational change management and in life and beyond is to say, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. You'll be fine. That's just not true.
No,
I want you to process it and think about it, which is exactly what you're instilling with your team. Wow. Empowering. Lisa, can you believe it's been 30 minutes already? It's time
no.
to actually one wonderful discussion. But I'm going to ask you the same question we ask everybody to close
Hmm.
out. What is one thing of advice you'd like to give out to people about either change, coaching, leadership, or just life by Lisa? What would it be?
Probably the best thing to leave everybody with would be, don't be afraid to
Yeah.
say no. Don't be afraid to say, I need time.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to take time for yourself.
Yes.
And that goes for personal life, that goes for employees, that goes for leaders inside organizations, all the way up to big branch and CEOs of massive companies. Everybody needs time. So
So true.
don't be afraid to take that time, because you will feel a lot better
Yeah.
for it.
And I love that. Very wise words. Don't be afraid. Lisa, are leading at BlackRock as well, or Blackbird, it's BlackRock, that's American. Blackbird Corporate, so I'll get it right with Microsoft 365 and SharePoint, and it really just tells us, don't be afraid. But if you are, then ask yourself, scared? So what? What can you do about it? Think it through. And if you need help to use the Scared So What model, our first app is free for all individuals to go out and learn. So thank you so much. It's so nice to have you on the show today. I
It's
really
been my
appreciate you
pleasure.
sharing. So, for all of our listeners to learn more about Lisa or to connect with her, follow along on her LinkedIn, her company website, and even Facebook. I'll provide the links in the episode below for you to look. Lisa, any last words to close us out?
All I would like to say is thank you ever so much for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, Lisa, you're a joy, and I hope you'll come back on the show and to
Of
bring some
course.
friends along too, as we'll continue to discussion and share and hopefully help others through their own leadership change and or coaching experiences. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us here on the Scared So What podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Van Ulbrich. If you found any of this information insightful, well, give us a like and follow along. Make sure that you tune in each week for more episodes as we talk further about what is personal change, how do you manage it with Scared So what about coaching, and also leadership, and how all three of these tie together. If you'd like to learn more, then go to our website at www.scaredsowhat.com. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope that you come back soon.